The following is presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Arizona. Live the life you want.
I want to introduce someone who has been working alongside the National Federation of the Blind of Arizona for a while. Senator Kavanagh is over a 30-year resident of District 3, which covers half of Scottsdale, Fountain Hills, Rio Verde, the Fort McDowell Yavapai Reservation, a little bit of North Phoenix, Cave Creek, and Carefree and Anthem. It's a big district right there. And New River as well. John and his wife, who is named Linda, who is or was the former mayor of Fountain Hills, by the way, have been married for over 49 years. We should clap for that. They have two sons, Jonathan and Nicholas. Senator Kavanagh is also a professor of criminal justice at Scottsdale Community College and teaches at the best university, Arizona State University. Prior to teaching, Senator Kavanagh served 20 years as a police officer with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey Police Department, retiring as a detective sergeant. He released a new book recently called State Legislatures, an Owner's Manual. That's pretty cool. It's a way to offer the public an unprecedented insight look at how America's state laws are shaped, debated, and enacted. Please do us and do him a huge favor, show him some Federation love as he comes to address us. Please welcome Senator John Kavanagh. The majority leader, by the way. The majority leader, by the way.
All right, well, thank you very much. I feel like I'm teaching one of my college classes because half the students are in the back of the room. And those in the front row will wind up getting A's at the end of the... although there's no test on this. So yeah, I've been in the Arizona State Legislature for 19 years. I always say I will leave the legislature when 200,000 people vote me out or 6 people carry me out, because my wife has this honey-do list that is so long I fear going home. Easier doing this kind of stuff. Well, the legislature obviously affects everybody's lives, and I think the main way we affect people's lives is through the budget, because the budget is actually the main policy document that we do. Because anything we want to do, any policy we want to do, almost always requires money. And if you don't give it money, then it doesn't happen. So it's a big policy document. Over the last several years, we have passed a number of appropriations, I think, that have benefited the blind community. Going back to 22, we created the Independent Living Older Blind program to help people become independent living, getting skills together. Okay. We gave $250,000 to keep the Department of Corrections Braille program. They have a lot of prisoners who do Braille books. In addition, going back that same year, we gave the Arizona State School for the Deaf and Blind full status as a regular school to get funding and money, and we also increased the screening programs to help them get their students into the right tracks and what have you. Of course, we recently expanded the board for the blind. We gave it a renewal, and much more recently, we gave $100,000 this year to the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind for early childhood therapies. We will continue. We were trying to get $1 million, but that kind of fell through. But there's always next year, so things don't always happen the first time around. You feel free to contact your legislator there are a number of ways you can do that. I actually have a whole chapter in my book about the most effective way. But the most effective way is through a personal communication, be it a phone call if you can get through. But if you're going to do an email, write a personal email. A lot of groups sponsor these mass mailings where you go to their website, you say, yeah, send an email on my behalf. And then we wind up getting hundreds of the exact same email with people's names inserted. And it doesn't really quite carry the same weight because there's no real personal input, no personal passion or want in the email. So it's always good to try to do personal legislation. But by the same token, maybe more effective is working through organizations. Like this, I know you have a legislative liaison. When you have people who are well-versed in legislative issues that come to us, meet with us, give the pros, give the cons. Sometimes they'll say, well, the other side will say don't do it because of this, but they're wrong because of this. That's really the most effective way to get legislation through. And of course, you have to keep trying because if you're really lucky, your want occurs in a year where we have hundreds of millions of dollars or even $1 billion excess cash, and everybody is usually taken care of then. The bad times are when we have to cut or we have virtually no new money, so it's kind of cyclical. But in terms of getting legislation passed, another thing I mentioned in my book is that a bill to get passed has to go through 21 separate steps. And at each of those steps, either one individual or a committee or the whole chamber can kill the bill. The bill has to be, after you introduce a bill, the president or the speaker, they have to assign it to a committee. If they don't, the bill's dead. Bills get assigned to more than one committee. Each committee chair has to agree to hear the bill in committee. If they don't, the bill's dead. The committees have to vote the bill out by majority vote. If they don't, the bill's dead. After it goes out of committee, it has to go to a special rules committee. And again, the chairman may or may not hear the bill. If the chairman or woman doesn't, the bill's dead. If it passes out of rules, the chamber leader, president or speaker, has to release the bill to the committee of the whole, which is all the members where they can amend it. If the speaker or president doesn't, the bill's dead. If it goes to the committee of the whole, it has to pass by majority vote. If it doesn't, the bill's dead. If it passes out of the committee of the whole, the speaker or the president, depending on the chamber, has to bring it before the entire chamber for a third read. If they don't, the bill's dead. If it passes, it then gets transmitted to the opposite chamber where it has to go through the exact same process. Every one of those steps, each one an opportunity to kill the bill. Then, if it actually finally gets passed out of the second chamber, if the second chamber made a change by amending it, it then has to go to a special small conference committee with members from both chambers where they try to work out a compromise version. If they can't work out a compromise, the bill's dead. If they do compromise, the compromise goes back to both chambers, and if the speaker or president decide to put it back up to the full chamber for a vote, if they don't, the bill's dead. If they do, the bill hopefully passes. If everybody votes, if a majority vote yes, then it goes to the governor. The governor can veto the bill. If she does, the bill's dead, unless you can take it back and get a 2/3 vote in each chamber, which, frankly, rarely happens. In fact, I've been in the legislature for 19 years. I've seen a lot of bills vetoed. I have never seen a governor's veto overridden, because most members don't like to vote to override a governor's veto, because that is dissing the governor, and governors are like elephants. They have a long memory. And they can then veto your bills just because you overrode his or her veto. So that's why it's very hard to get bills through. And that's why some bills take years to eventually get through, or in fact never get through. And it's actually a good thing that we do that, because a lot of bad bills get introduced. A lot of bills have problems that aren't apparent when they're introduced. Every state except one, Nebraska, has 2 chambers, a House and a Senate. Nebraska only has 1. I can't tell you the number of times that I introduced a bill, which I thought was perfect. It flew through the chamber I was in, and when it got to the other side, some horrible problem was discovered with it in terms of the way it worked, and it either had to be amended to correct it, or in one occasion it was so bad that I just killed the bill and figured I'll do it next year. And having 2 chambers and having all of those steps is a protection against bad bills becoming law. And this, of course, comes from the founders of our nation, right? Because almost all state legislatures are modeled after the U.S. Congress. And they have the 2 chambers, because the founders of this country were extremely fearful and suspicious of government. They viewed government as an enemy, because it was the English government, the king, that was oppressing us, and we had to have a revolution to get free. So they were not friends of government, so they made it really hard for government to mess with people. In fact, even after they set up this system with the 2 chambers, they still couldn't get the government formed, because the people still didn't trust the big government, and only after they put the first 10 amendments, which guarantee us rights like speech and assembly and press and religion and right to bear arms, could they eventually get the U.S. government going. So it continues today, turmoil, controversy, but still providing us all with the best quality of life and standard of living of anybody in the world. And I'm very proud to be a small cog in that big machine. Period.
For more information about the National Federation of the Blind of Arizona, visit us at az.nfb.org or on our Facebook page at facebook.com/blindarizona.